number of islands. We are given an m by n matrix, a grid, 1 means a land, 0 means water, and we need to tell how many islands do we have. Let's look at an example. So here we have all these as one island. So we have one island here. So by surrounded we mean right, top, left, bottom. And in this following example, we have this island, and this island of a total of 3. And with that, let's move directly to the answer. This is going to be the answer. This is our plan. Go over the grid, which means simply scan the grid, row by row, column by column. Next row, go over all the columns. Next row, go over the columns. We simply scan the whole grid. If you see a 1 and this cell was not seen before, then increase the answer. So answer would be +1. Then DFS all the neighbors and mark them all with 0, including this one. So we just go and mark all the ones that we can see, that we can reach with 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, so that we can get rid of these islands next time we reach something. Okay, so we see here first we initialize some variables. Answer is beginning with 0. M is the number of rows. N is the number of columns. Scene is the scene because we're traversing a graph. Next item to notice is how we traverse the whole graph. We scan the rows and inside an internal loop we scan the columns. So 4 row in range M, scan all the rows. 4 col in range N, scan all the columns in this row. If the current cell is 1 and it was not seen, note that we use a tuple here to check if a row and col is not in scene, then increase the answer by 1 and do a DFS, mark every one as 0. We want to get rid of the island. If this was the island, now after we run this DFS, we mark them all with 0. Okay, so this is the external loop. This is very important. To start with the external loop, start with a high-level picture of what you want to do. And here we have a tiny little DFS function that we would call in order to mark them all as 0. Once we did it, we solved it. So how do you mark all the neighboring as zeros? So here is the function that will do this. The function, we call it DFS, it receives a row and column, and its target is to mark all the neighboring rows and cols with zeros. So it will do recursively DFS to row +1, row -1, col +1, col -1, DFS, 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 DFS to mark all the neighboring cells left, right, top, bottom with 0. So this will take something like this, whatever the picture is like, and turn it into this. Okay, so we enter DFS. We know that we have some cell with 1. So if the row is in the boundary of rows, meaning greater than 0, less than m, and the column is greater than 0, less than number of columns, less than n, and the grid is currently 1, then make this grid cell 0, add it to the scene because we have seen this, and DFS all the rest of the rows, all the neighboring rows and columns. So that's it, guys. That's it. I mean, we initialized a couple of variables. The answer, how many rows do we have, how many columns do we have, initialize the scene, then have a loop over the rows and over the columns. Whenever we see a 1, increase the answer and mark all the friends of the 1 with 0. How do you mark all the friends of the 1 with 0? We call a function DFS. If the row and the column that we called with are in the boundaries of the matrix and the current row call is 1, then mark it as 0. Just set the cell to 0 in place. Nobody asks us to leave the matrix as is. If nobody asks us this, we would utilize it and save some code and just mark it as 0. We would add it to the scene and go over all the friends, DFS row +1, call, DFS row -1, call, DFS row, call +1, DFS row, call -1, mark them all again with zeros. So this was how to solve the question of number of islands. Leetcode 200 medium.